work group meeting, November 30th. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off, and I'm presenting the last set of notes we had from last time before the Thanksgiving holiday. So this is what we had the last time. Did anyone have PRs they wanted to put forward today or present?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to make a small comment about the previous thing that was discussed about the ACLs. Can you please also tag me in the question?
Oh, Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Vincent, that's Marian talking. Could
Okay,
you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Will do.
Yeah, thanks, Marian. Sure. Okay, go ahead, Chris. What were you saying?
Yeah, I wanted to present.
But please do, yeah.
And I know Anton has some things too, and probably Volodym.
Mhm.
So
Feel
I'm
free.
ready. I will share my screen.
Great.
First, I wanted to review a PR that got merged this week. I'll just review it on behalf of Guohan because I was the reviewer and tested it quite a bit.
Mhm.
So Guohan had made a comment on a previous PR that I'd submitted about the Docker file publishing process to ACR, and he volunteered to do some improvements. He actually took an issue on himself, and he worked on it just before the break, and I accepted it this week because it's a really good PR, and it was important to get that done before we merge some subsequent ones. What it does is it consolidates some of the CI publishing, some of the CI scripts, and it uses a slightly different workflow to publish Docker images to ACR. And I pretty much validated it all works, and just wanted to kind of announce it to people so in case they notice any changes. Because it might have gone by without people's attention. Some of the work got done on holiday. So it's just updating a bunch of YAML files. It deleted quite a few of them and consolidated them, which was nice. And he changed the tagging scheme for the Docker images to use the SHA-1 of the Docker file itself as the tag. So it's sort of a way to bind the Docker file and the tag in a one-to-one way, which is nice. And so there's just some make script changes as well. So if people want to look at that out of curiosity, they can, but it is already merged. So I wanted to mention that. And then
hey,
yeah.
Quick question.
Yes.
Why SHA and why not the label?
Well, no, what he uses is the SHA as the label. In other words, we were making arbitrary tags just with the date code, and those are still preserved as well. So the images can be double tagged with a canonical tag. Like we'd use something like, let's say today's date, it'd be 22/11/30 for the date code. That tag you can still specify. It's sort of an easy to use one, like a nickname, but it also gets tagged with the SHA of the Docker file itself. So it's kind of like a nice binding. So they're actually both used. And
okay, so we are using, instead of using our own arbitrary given name label, we're just using SHA as a label.
Yeah, but the arbitrary label, which he calls a canonical tag or a C tag, you can still specify one, and if it's provided, it will also tag it with that. So, for example, I'll zoom in here. Let's find one.
Yeah, that will actually also help because it's more human readable, kind of,
Yeah,
can tell you exactly what that particular version really meant, what is and so forth, right? So
yes, yeah, I was a proponent of the date code approach. Apparently SONiC uses the SHA code, so we actually Guohan figured out a way to use both. So here's an example of a canonical tag where you can hand define one.
Oh, okay.
But in the make file, it also calculates the SHA and tags with that. So what you may notice if you sync your repo, pull it in and do a make, you'll see a bunch of new Docker activity one time as the new images get kind of tagged and built. And
So you can refer to the container with either of them, right? And be
Yes.
able to pull them out.
Yes, and well, the one that gets published, I think, is just the SHA one, the one to ACR. Now, I think as people use this, we may notice there may be some learnings, and we'll sort them out as they come along. So if anything is funny in your builds or you notice anything weird, just flag it, file an issue or something. I pretty much went along with Guohan's recipe here because apparently this is sort of a SONiC way. So we definitely want to be aligned.
Okay.
So Anton?
Actually, actually one question that I found during my PR, because like in general, so I like this approach because it solves that problem with staging branches. So I made a PR with changes to the Docker file, and right now I do not need any staging branches, anything like that. All checks are passing. However, I see one thing that like room for improvements, because for example in the Docker file for SAI Thrift client builder, we have actually instruction from, which is constant, pointing to some tag. And if we dependent Docker is updated and SHA is updated as well, so I'd like to have some mechanism to do not commit that fixed checksums labels. I opened actually a issue to.
Yeah, so you're referring to here's a typical Docker file where we've got hard-coded base image.
Yes.
And what you'd like this image or at least the tag to somehow be generated automatically from the SHA as well and be
yeah, because I might have a commit where I actually updating that base image and that's it. So and I'm expecting that next image will be built on the new base, but without committing these changes and updating tags here, so it won't work.
Yeah, a common way to do that, which would be maybe the follow-on step, would be use an environment variable and pass it into the Docker file, right? So that can be done. I mean, you're welcome to do a PR for that, or it's an open issue if anyone wants to take it on as a homework. It's a good idea. So, yeah, thanks for filing that.
Okay.
So there's
it's already filed. I don't need to take a note.
Yeah, you can. You could, if you wanted to take a note, what you could do is just note that this issue here, gigantic text.
289.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's as a
Needs a volunteer.
Yeah. Oh, 284. Looks like that's closed by Guohan's. I'll have to close that. Good. So that's the Docker file PR.
Awesome. Thank you.
The other one I wanted to mention, and unfortunately Guohan's not here. Okay, Side Challenger, which we've been reviewing this and discussing enhancements to the PR for several weeks now, actually since October, say third week of October. So Guohan had a number of comments along the way. I had staging PRs, which I've obsoleted and replaced it with this final one because there's just too much history and conflicts, not worth dragging along. This PR takes advantage of the changes Guohan just made to the build process, so it's actually simplified. But we really would like to, approve this, and maybe we can ping Guohan and just take a look at this so we can finally get this, released. But this is pretty much addressed all of his concerns in prior reviews, and this should be ready to go. And the longer it kicks around, the more maintenance it requires to keep syncing it to main, because sometimes there's conflicts in it. So it's another half a day of work to kind of sync it up and fix conflicts. So I really like to get this moving. So 290.
Oh, and it looks like Guohan's on right now. It looks like he just joined.
Oh.
Yay. So we can present to him maybe.
Yeah, Guohan, are you there?
Awake?
Yeah, I'll take a look at, yeah.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
And Guohan, I just reviewed, I reviewed your PR on the Docker file. I just talked about it quite a bit. Where is it? The closed ones. Yeah. So we just talked about this. I answered some questions. If anyone has any other questions about it, but this one looked good. It did simplify the process. It was a nice optimization. So thank you, Guohan, for volunteering to do that and teach us a few new tricks. So all the other PRs that are waiting approval, including Side Challenger and one that Anton's going to talk about in a moment, both use this approach, and it actually is benefiting from it because it's more streamlined. So it's great. And the only outcome of this, Guohan, is that Anton noticed that some of the Docker files we have, they use base images, and the base image tags are hard coded in the Docker files. Anton filed an issue suggesting that we automate that so it picks up the tags automatically. You know, so you don't have to hard code them. And filed an issue here so that the tags are generated automatically when there's a dependency, and that would keep things in sync more automatically because it's easy to overlook something. So anyway, that's it for my
Thanks, Chris.
topics today. So Guohan, yeah, if you could take a look at that. I've tried to address all the issues that you raised over the last several weeks. I think they're all handled, and it's streamlined and improved. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
for-
I'll take a look at, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the help.
And did you say Anton wanted to go next?
Yeah, I will share right now.
Okay, thanks, Anton.
Yeah, so that's also my PR. Also, I use advantages of the Guohan's PR, so that see that right now I can push to the main, and all checks are passing right now without any staging branches due to the Docker changes. It's nice. Also, Guohan, I like that you take a look and comment, because last time we had comments from you regarding the folder structure, folder names, so that's everything is fixed here, and I moved all existing test cases that were in before that were in the Dash pipeline. So right now they're in the test cases, functional PTF. So that's ACL test case recently added. I already updated my PR. I moved it here. VNet, that's the one that was there for a long time, and that's also just I merged those two into a single file. That's why I haven't deleted anything. I just like recreated them in a single file. That's it. So like everything is passing right now. Folder structure should be okay, like checks passing. So please take a look if everything okay. I also would like to have this merged, because I would like to start adding some other test cases here, and this is actually base PR for me, because we are defining the folders where CI will be taking all test cases, like just providing a standard for adding any new test case to Dash. Okay, so yes, everybody is actually welcome to take a look at it. Yeah, and once it's merged, I actually already have in a queue to add one more test case here, because I would like actually to have this merged as fast as possible, because it's like a long story for merging one PR
Yeah.
and one.
It doesn't keep getting behind.
Blame it on the turkeys.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think it would be possible by end of day on this one, Guohan? Just because it's been going so long?
Yeah, let me
Okay, thank
take a
you.
look at that. So.
Thank you so much. Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Great. So, was that the only one there, Anton? that you
Yeah.
wanted?
Yeah, actually, that's from the PRs. No, I have one update actually for
Okay.
everybody. So that's right now we have a PR with the test plan, which is also like maybe in 2 months or so
Mhm.
there. What I'm going to do, I actually will be adding new PRs with test code and test plan itself. So like I will split it to small pieces, but I will keep that one until I push all my small parts, because actually I believe that with the small parts we might be able to merge PR faster, because right now the merge and review process takes actually a lot of time, and I'd like to have this improved in the Dash community. So from my side, I will do like smaller changes. That's why I'd like to have this merged, and instead of like updating and doing more and more. So let's do small pieces, but yeah, please update that one.
Okay, I see somebody's hand. Mircha.
Mirch?
Mircha.
I think it was a mistake. Sorry.
Okay, all right.
But we can still see it.
Yeah,
There you go.
funny. Okay, so anyone else, or do you want to open up to general Q&A, guys? With the balance here?
Do have a question.
Yeah, please.
So has anybody thought about being able to change on the fly somewhat, or at compile time, the SAI Thrift RPC port? It's hard coded now to 1992. There are 2 files already that need to change, the CPP file and also the Python Sybase, I believe, references that port. Is there any infrastructure currently or plan to be able to change that somehow? And the case is, if you got 2 people on the same machine testing the SAI Thrift, there's obviously collision there.
It's a great idea, and I encourage you to either file an issue and or just do a PR. You could use an environment variable, probably in the CPP, right?
Yeah, I was going to look at it. I was just wondering if there was some thoughts on that before.
No, it's a great idea. Feel free to make an enhancement, or if you want help in doing that, maybe there's someone who can help you. That's a great idea.
Okay.
And
I'll take a look.
there's probably a command line option for the Python that we could also pass along.
Yeah. All right, I'll play with that. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else, or Gerald or Mircha, did you have any comments this week since we're coming off of a Thanksgiving holiday?
Hey, Mircha, there you are again.
Yeah, I started the camera and started off the microphone. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm waiting the same for the 2 PRs with the site challenger and the folder structure in order to start pushing our PRs with test cases and test plans. So I'm kind of in a waiting phase for those 2 at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Mircha.
Now, this brings up a related topic. I met with Intel folks Monday, and one of the suggestions from Anton and or Volodymyr was, hey, let's get this code owner's file submitted, and let's have areas of responsibility where we don't need like the whole community to necessarily be involved in every review, every change, that we have some authority to make changes in our respective domains. For example, if we want to do a little bit of a test directory maintenance on a PR, the test focused people can go ahead and do that amongst themselves without so much delay. That would help. So I think there was a request to add to this file. I don't know if that got done. I think someone sent an email to Marian.
Reshma said 2 days ago, can we add as code owners, blah, blah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So is this under review?
Well, that would be a message to.
Marian? Or did you happen to see this, Marian?
Oh, hold on. The original one wasn't even merged. So how are
No,
we
right.
paying for it?
Right, it hasn't been
Yep.
merged yet, so we were,
Right.
the instructions were add to,
Yeah, so my question is, do we have actually an agreement that we need code owners? Because that was the intention of the original pull request to ask this question. And from Guohan, I heard that probably we don't. So I don't think there is a consensus in the first place that we will have code owners.
Yeah, so should we, is this a good place to talk about it here or Guohan or Gerald or me, I guess? Make change if you like.
So I think that may be too general of a question to say code owners.
Yeah.
So we should decide like what code owner, like what subgroups are we talking about, define those, and then talk about can we have because we do have subgroups. There is a test subgroup that meets every week, and we should define like what do we want there? Is that like 3 subgroups? Is it 2? Is it like what is it that we're actually asking for? And I think if you determine that, then we can take the next step in saying like, so how do we manage that? And there should be specifically, technical reviewers anyways. Like even if you have a subgroup, you still need technical reviewers. But maybe we have an opportunity to have different technical reviewers approve in the subgroups. But I think the first place to start is like, what are we talking about? Which subgroups are we talking about for code owners? And if we determine that, then maybe we take the second step of deciding who's the technical reviewers. And then the third step is who actually needs to sign off, just the technical reviewers, like if there's 2 of them, or like what is the rules around? I think that's how we should talk about it.
how is it done in SONiC, standard SONiC right now? What's the equivalent of this? If there is one, does anyone know?
Guohan, do you
SONiC
know?
has a TSC, so it's all decided within TSC.
I missed that, I'm sorry.
The technical steering committee in SONiC makes the decisions on approving PRs?
On assigning reviewers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so on that part, the technical steering committee, there are reviewers and there are code maintainers. So we do have this process that is getting instituted right now. The code maintainers are essentially the owners which have the merge rights, but the reviewers do not. But the reviewers are essentially volunteer, and then they say that okay, they are going to look it up within the certain time frame so that we can meet certain SLA, right?
Yeah.
To say that okay, if certain PR is going to be filed, within 24 hours or within 48 hours, we will have some response to it.
Yeah.
Whether and then this method is going to really help us to ensure that we have a some cadence by which people basically, something will not really remain in the queue for a long period of time and people get discouraged that, hey, something is not getting looked up, right? And then the code maintainers are essentially are the ones who have this ownership that, okay, they do oversee it. They do have the knowledge of it, but they also rely upon reviewers' feedback quite a bit to ensure that, okay, if they have to merge it, then the reviewers have to approve it, and then possibly more than one reviewer must approve it in order for code maintainer to merge it. So this is the process that they're instituting, and then this has has really gone on once it has come under the Linux Foundation umbrella, right?
So I think that's
and then we could also basically do something similar.
Yeah. So I think on that topic, by the way, it was always the intention that we're going to put this whole group under SONiC. Like this being separate was temporary. And to get this whole thing started, kicked off, the community, get things going before we actually went under Linux Foundation. But I have told Christina I want this under Linux Foundation. It's time. and we can adopt, similar policies once we get there. I don't know what the process is. Guohan would know that far better than I, but this whole GitHub should be moved to Linux Foundation. There's really no reason not to be honest, at this point. There was good reasons in the beginning because we just wanted to go fast and kind of see if this even took off, but there's no reason anymore. So that's just something I want to put out there, is that we need to start working on that, initiated from our side, and I'll have to consult with Liwa, Guohan, and others on how that actually is accomplished. But I don't see this where it is today just staying there. It should move, and it should move under SONiC, and it should just and we'll just have to talk about the logistics of how that's all done.
And there are parallels to that also. And we know that pins was a project that started out separately and also moved under SONiC. So, and it's all part of it. So I think we can actually move, Dash as well under SONiC as we've done before.
So I'll talk to Liwa, Guohan, and others like inside Microsoft on like the logistics from their point of view. But I just want to make a point that it was always the intention. There was never an intention not to do that. It's just that it's time now to do that. And what the process is, I don't know. How long it's going to take, I don't know. But we need to initiate the process now.
Seems like there's some people who are experienced now with a couple of projects where this has been done, and maybe they should help at least create a bullet list of how we should go about it at a high level, maybe some learnings, pitfalls.
And they can work with Christina, and she can pull in Liwa, Guohan, and anybody else. But yeah, we should pull in the bullet list, because I don't know the process, but we can pull that together as a bullet list. I think that's a great idea. And then, once we see the list, then we can take it from there, because right now it's kind of like, we want to do it, but we don't know the process. I don't think it's going to be overly complex, but let's pull that list together. And it shouldn't change anything that we're doing here. It may make it clear for things like code, management and stuff, because they've done so much, in the way of thinking about all that kind of stuff. But I mean, from this group's point of view, it's not like the group's going to change or stop meeting or change the meetings or anything. But we do need to get more formal about where this is. And so it should be
more of a provenance issue. And I guess whatever we do, right now we're talking about this because we also want a way to expedite the whole process, which we've been starting to experience lags, and probably need to spread the load out for reviewing and maintaining as well. There's choke points.
Yeah. So is there anyone on the call right now who has experience in doing this? If you could just say yes or.
Well, certainly Guohan does, but other than Guohan, anybody else?
Yes, sir. I think which process we move to the Linux
moving to
Foundation,
Linux Foundation, the bullet list for moving to Linux Foundation.
This whole project, it was always the intention to do that. We only had it outside to go fast and initially, but the intention, and Deepak and I both agree, is to move this under Linux Foundation. Under SONiC,
I think the Yan Zhao can help. He moved all those other repos to the Linux Foundation. I think we can start some talk
so
with.
Yang Zhao can help. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks, Guohan. Appreciate that.
But
I'm assuming that I'm assuming that we don't have to apply for anything, because this is just contributions under SONiC, right? It's just a process of how we populate it, or do we need to do something in the Linux Foundation to ask for permissions or?
Actually, that part, I think we probably need to, first start the conversation and then know what needed to be done there, right? So I don't have a guess.
And that's what we talked about. Go on, let's pull the bullet list together of what needs to get done, and then after we get that, then we'll take a look at it together and figure it out.
Yeah.
So whatever
Christina can pull together the bullet list, but using you guys who have some experience.
So general, I don't believe there is anything needs to be done, because if this Dash will be considered as like the sub project of SONiC, much like any other project is. So, and then, you know, once it can get discussed in the TSC, you know, as Guohan mentioned, Yenzhou has moved all the other repos from Azure. It used to be SONiC used to be under Azure, much like how Dash is. Then it has gone into what we call SONiC-net. Okay, so it's like a different, you know, root GitHub root repo, and under SONiC-net we can also transition Dash into under SONiC-net as well, which with the help from Yenzhou, and you know, that will be the one logistics part of it, right? And then the other discussions will be that, okay, some of the other technical discussions can also carry on in the TSC as well. So from the direction from the TSC, once it gets moved in, so there will be these logistics things and some of the process part, but I don't believe there is any other requirement is there as far as Linux Foundation is concerned.
I didn't think so, and that's why we didn't move right away. But let's at least meet and make sure we have all the bullets, write them down, make sure everybody's aware, and make sure that this. I just wanted to make this group aware, but I think we talked about this in the past. There was always the intent to go there. It makes sense to go there. I mean, after all, this is based on SONiC. It belongs there, so it's just a time to get that done.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds
Thanks,
good.
Joe. Yeah. Okay. And then I did, I don't see anyone new on the call today, so no new introductions, I don't think. So any other Q&A before we end for the day? No. Okay, so Vincent and Marian are going to talk to Pterosaur. I can be a backup to get a hold of them if you guys can't. Thank you, Guohan, for helping with all that work with Chris. Appreciate all you guys. Reach out to me if you need anything, and have a good day.
Thanks,
Thank
Christina.
you.
Thanks, Christina.
All right, I'll stop the recording.
Thanks,
I'll
bye.
talk to you later. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks.